You're listening to E-commerce Uncensored with Kevin Manel and Jason Caruso.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us on another episode of E-commerce Uncensored. This is episode number 194. My name is Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
So today we're going to talk about kind of like a new it's new kind of new venture that Jason and I are going out on, and we're not going to necessarily tell you that we're going to document with you everything that we're going to do to build this business, because we've done that in the past and we can't trust each other.
Yeah. Well, I think this project we are investing in. So I think
it's been something on especially your mind for a long time, and it's a passion of ours that I think we can really get into. But I think it's going to be also something that we can bring to you guys and just talk about our experiences, and that's kind of what we're going to do today.
Yeah, that's what this podcast has always been about. We're not quote unquote gurus. We're not quote unquote the popular guys. We just kind of talk about the shit that we go through.
I was thinking about it this morning and like how we're going to structure the talking about this, and I was thinking about how we've done in the past, but like talking about how we're going to, like I said, document what we're going to do to build this business. And we've done that in the past. And it's just our mindset is just like, we don't have that in us to stay so structured that way.
No.
So I think
me.
Yeah.
Especially me.
Yeah, you more than me, but I think both of us contribute to that. But
yeah. So what we're going to talk about is a couple things, actually. Number one, like this new business that we started is in a really, really noisy / competitive space. And we're going to talk about how you can sort of cut through all that stuff and actually quiet down everything and speak directly to your customer. And we're going to talk about some strategies that we're using that are working really well. But before we do, Kev, we have to talk about our favorite marketing, email, everything, SMS, everything platform.
The ultimate e-commerce marketing platform.
And that
for
is
online retailers. That's Klaviyo.
That's Klaviyo. And Kevin, we get, it's funny because even in my Facebook course that I'm going to promote in about 2 minutes, everybody says that they switched over from whatever they were using to Klaviyo because of us. And none of them use our link ever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, did you use our link? No, I went to Klaviyo.com. Like, no. Klaviyo.com / uncensored.
Yeah, and I think it's because there's not really a specific offer for us to give out to you, because they have a free account that you could just go and there's not more of a discount you can get than a free account.
Yeah, we don't make any money off of you guys using our link, but it just shows them where the traffic is coming from. So it's helpful when we go to renew our contracts with them that you guys are, saying that you're coming from us. So it's really helpful. So Klaviyo.com, Kev, how do you spell that?
KLAVIYO.com / uncensored. And they are going to be a huge part of our upcoming Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotions with our clients, with ourselves. And you need to have a platform like Klaviyo in place to take advantage of everything, Black Friday, Cyber Monday for
it's an integral part of everything that we're doing. And the cool thing about Klaviyo, number one, Kev, they've been with us for a really long time, or we've been with them. And we've watched them grow. We've been to Klaviyo Boston. We say it all the time. In May, they had 30,000 customers. Now they have 50,000. It's probably even more than that by now. But it's not by accident. They're a really good company.
Yeah, and they're constantly evolving. They just wrote us about this new feature that they're coming out with post Cyber Monday. That's going to be really awesome. So get on board right now so you can take advantage of that. And they're constantly adding new things all the time. Klaviyo.com / uncensored.
Yeah, guys, and if you're running Facebook ads, which you should be by now, if you're an e-commerce store and you're struggling or you need some help, go to you got to sign up. It's called The Truth About Facebook Ads. And I talk about things that no one else talks about. I promise you will hear things in that course that you never heard before. All you have to do is go to ecommerceuncensored.com / truth. I've actually broken up the payments if you'd like. And I'd love to have you in there. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from the course.
I actually just stumbled upon that recording that you sent me on Messenger the other day with that guy who signed up for the course, and you got on that phone call with them. That's pretty cool, because that's another feature of the course is that there's a 30-minute phone call.
Yeah, two 30-minute phone
30-minute,
calls. So we do
yes.
like an intro where you can ask us questions about maybe, a new campaign you want to do. And then maybe at the end, we could talk about the results. The last guy who we got on a call with, or I got because you forgot or whatever. He's like, yeah, I just want to talk to you guys. I'm like, all right, cool. Whatever you want, man.
Seemed like a cool dude.
Awesome guy. Cool. And what's even more interesting is like there's like really cool people out there with cool products. He has a really cool product, which I went to his website and I'm like, man, like you don't think of these things. And he did $1 million, this guy, in like since April.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing a lot of that, meeting a lot of new people, even in our Facebook group. It's like you don't even think about the products that are out there that people are doing on e-commerce, and it's just awesome to see these stories.
Right. So Kevin, we have been talking about a product internally, you and I, for a really long time. Mainly me. This is something that has been on my heart. It's been on my mind for a really long time. And truth be told, living in the Northeast, golf is seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always wanted to create a golf program, a course, not a golf course, but like a course, like selling, right? And for those of you that don't know, I'm a former PGA teaching professional, and the story goes, I moved down to Florida. I was kind of like one of those people. I just like make a decision and like I just go with it, and that's kind of how the Florida thing was. Kev, you don't even know this, but like I was just like, Mom, I'm kind of bored. I want to be a golf pro. All right. I just packed up my car and I went down to Florida, and
totally the antithesis of me, because I would never.
Yeah, like not even like, right. You're like you'd be thinking about that for a year before you did it.
A year, several
years. Long story short, there was a lot of pressure on me to like pass this test because everybody knew I was doing it. And sorry, let me take that back. To become a PGA professional, you have to first demonstrate that you can play good golf. So you play 2 rounds of golf in the same day, and you have to shoot a score. For me, it was like, I don't know, mid-70s twice in one day. So you have to take this test. It's called the playing ability test. It's called the PAT, right? So I go down.
This is even before they'll consider you, or is
so you're not even allowed to come. You can't even go into the program unless you pass this test. So, shooting in the mid 70s for a single digit handicapper or somebody who's going to be a pro is not that difficult. You don't even play the back tees. You play the white tees, which is kind of like the middle tees. They don't set it up real difficult. All the pins are in the middle of the greens. But because you have to pass this test to be a pro, 80% of the people who take it fail.
Yeah, it's always harder when it's quote unquote a test.
Right.
Especially got to do 2 rounds in one day.
Right. And you can't like, there are people who've been practicing their whole lives to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you could take it again, but you only could take it twice a year. And many people don't do it the first time. I was lucky enough to do it the first time. Long story short, I was practicing every day. I was getting worse as I was practicing. And I said, I got to figure something out. I got to figure out how I could practice less and then just like retain more. And that's what I did. So this has just been something on my mind. Like I've been wanting to do this golf product for a really long time. But as I said, in the Northeast where we are, it's very seasonal golf. So we always were in like a conundrum as to what would we do like in these months, November, December, January, February.
Well, it was also, I think that in some sense, if we had to, if we, I don't know how to put it, but we always, up to this point, we always had an agency that was growing. We had this podcast. We were hiring new people. There was so many different factors. We were trying different things. We were partnering up with different people. So there was never that solid opportunity where we could say, okay, let's focus and let's do this. Or, necessarily, the money aspect of it, that we couldn't risk what we had going on at the time.
Well, I was actually kind of talking more about me personally, like why I haven't done it up until this point.
Right.
All of those factors are true after you and I met.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I was always trying to figure out like, what would I do during November, December, January, and February? You can't just, and even March, you can't even just shut the business down.
Right.
So we are in a position right now financially where we can afford to buy an indoor golf simulator. Right, Kev?
And we have a space, our old office, we have 3,000 square feet office that, since COVID, we have not been in.
We have not been in, right. So we've decided, we came up with this bright idea to buy this golf simulator. And of course, you get excited and we start looking at these simulators at like $30,000-$40,000. And we're like, no.
And I can say about you, Jason, you are a terrible shopper. You're probably one of the worst people I've ever shopped with, next to my wife. When you're considering buying something, you say you're very impulsive and you'll move to Florida. But if it comes to buying anything, you are the worst to shop with.
I like to
research. Every website that you go to, you have to call the company. Even if we go to Dick's, it's the worst experience of my life going to Dick's to buy you a shirt. I'm like, what the? You're searching, I would never go to the try-on room in Dick's to try on a t-shirt. No. You're trying on like 5 or 6 of them. No, ever, never. I would just buy it if I don't like it when I get home. I like to be in and out. You're like, you take forever at the store.
Because I want to use it. I buy it so I can use it. Yeah. I am the worst. I agree.
Your glasses. Remember your
remember the glasses. What about that year I was going to a wedding and I had to go get a suit. Remember that? I went to Kohl's for like, I don't know, 3-4 hours. And like at the time, I think I was working for you and I was like making excuses like, there's none of my size here, whatever.
And we'll be at our computers and we have a divider in between our two offices while we're at the office. And I could hear him just going through these different sunglasses, these different pants, I'm like, oh my God, just buy the fucking things. If you don't like them, send them back.
Right. So we are, long story short, I mean, that's a long story. We decided to do this golf thing. And that story that I told you guys about the PAT is very unique, right? Like I found something that helped me pass this playing ability test, which is so coveted in golf, at least in the, teaching realm.
And you came up with a process to train yourself. Is that what you mean?
Yes, I came up with a process to train myself where I could practice less, but retain more. And I was getting better, not worse, the more I was practicing, right?
Which is actually the opposite of what any athlete would ever think. You're
right.
always taught to practice more and you'll get better. You obviously have to have some talent and some skill, but
the thing about golf, though, it's like one of the only sports where like you can get in bad habits and like they say, practice makes permanent. Mm-hmm. So in other sports, there's not much technicality to running. Yeah, there is. You can run the right way, but the more you practice, the faster you get, the stronger you get. The same thing with baseball. The more you hit, the more you catch a ball, the better you get. So in golf, it's kind of like the opposite. It's like the more you practice, the more bad habits you can get in, the more you make them permanent, the harder they are to get out of them. So
I've told you so many times before, sorry to interrupt you, Jason, and I feel like the more I play, by the end of the year, like my first round is always my best round of the year. I can tell you that. The last round is always my worst. I get worse the more I play. And I think that's consistent through a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm catching a lot of flack on our Facebook ads from people because they're obviously just skeptics and everybody like knows better. But for the people who are receptive to it, our ads are like killing it, right? Okay, so what's the point of all this? The point is that in the golf business, if you go on Instagram right now and you click on any sort of golf teacher, you will then be inundated with golf instructors, right? Golf teachers, you would get, I mean, there are so many of them out there. In fact, I got out of the business because there's like 40,000 assistant professionals trying to get jobs that there's only like 5,000 of, in the country.
Which can also make it a very scary thing to get involved with because there's so many other options available to people.
Yes. And that's right. That's true. So what do you do? How do you cut through this? And, on Instagram, I would not stand out, right? I'm not this big, tall, skinny golfer that that's the stereotypical golfer. He's like a real, tall, skinny guy. And I don't have a perfect golf swing. I don't have the pedigree of a golfer. Like my father isn't like some professional golfer. So I don't have all that pedigree that people typically need to,
You don't have this huge following. You
I
don't
don't have
have
a huge
any kind of
following.
name behind you that anybody knows about. So you don't have any of that. So you got
I don't have any of that. So what I do have though is we know how to market, right? We know how to run Facebook ads. We know how to do email marketing. So what we've been doing is I've basically been telling that story on Facebook that I just told you guys. And at the end, I just said of that story, I said, I learned how to practice less and retain more. And I said, if you'd like to learn more about what I did. And this is the interesting thing, Kev, that I'm finding, and this is like the big lesson in all this, right? When I first did this a year or so ago, where we were like just testing it, I was just sending that ad to like a Google form. No landing page, no pictures, no beautiful design. It went to a form.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, I know. Super simple.
Super simple. So I was getting a ton of people signing up for this newsletter. I wasn't trying to hide that it was a newsletter. That's another thing. I'm like, hey, if you want to jump on my newsletter, well, I'll email you. Like, here it is.
And the interesting thing behind the whole concept of the email stuff is that we kind of know, if I noticed, like because I do click on things on Instagram, like Jason said, so I am inundated with golf stuff, and especially because we're doing the golf business, we're researching, golf simulators. I'm getting bombarded with shit. I have not once been asked to join any email list on any of these people's videos or landing pages or anything like that.
Right. And we're doing quite the opposite, right? I'm not creating all kinds of videos and competing with everybody on Instagram. What we're doing instead, we're doing a lead generation Facebook ad, right?
Yeah.
And I'm getting a ton of people signing up for this ad for almost nothing, like 50, 60 cents, right? So what I've essentially done, and this is, I'm going to bring all this together, obviously, because it's kind of all over the place. But what we've done is we've taken a very competitive market that we know there's demand for. And instead of competing with everybody on these social platforms, we're getting them on our email list. And then I can speak to them one-on-one without all the noise in the industry. And again,
go ahead.
The landing page, I know where you're going, but wait till I'm done. The landing page is super simple. I have a little picture of me. I said that I found a formula that helped me pass the PAT. Now I want to help you. Sign up here.
Yeah, and if you showed that to me 2 weeks ago, well, you did show it to me 2 weeks ago when we started, but I'd be like, there's no way it's going to work. I mean, we've always told our clients, we've always told ourselves that, like, when you say sign up to our newsletter, no one wants a newsletter. No one wants to get this junk in their email. They want to sign up for maybe a coupon code or a PDF or something. But we've learned through this ad that you can make it super simple.
Well, I think we've learned actually in the Journal of Wildlife Photography at scale. We've learned it with the journal, right? Like, people want to buy things they want to buy, right? People want to join things they want to join, right? Like, you can't force them to do things. Yeah, 2 years ago, we did the same test and we got the same exact results. So yeah, you're right. We've learned that, keeping things super simple, that sort of thing. But the journal, like, we didn't come up with this slick copy, right? Like, that everybody talks about. Like, you got to write persuasive copy. We didn't
put something that people really want. If you can find that thing, they're going to find ways to sign up for it. Like when we first started with the journal, and we looked at what he was doing before he worked with us, we couldn't believe that people were signing up. And we're like, he doesn't, his website barely makes any sense.
Yeah. But the landing page made no sense. Couldn't even find the sign up form.
Yeah.
It's like it went to a page you got to look for everything.
And people are still signing up to that same landing page that he has. So what you've done, and I think a big part of it is your messaging behind what your Facebook ad says and the story behind it. And that's a whole nother idea behind it is the stories that you're telling. And I think people can connect with those stories really closely. And that's what drives them to this landing page that has the landing page. I mean, you look mean on the landing page. You like, why aren't you smiling?
That picture.
It's like a picture of him if you're on a desktop, it looks a picture of him on the left with just a form on the right. Is it a form or is it a button? I can't remember.
It's a button.
And it's like he's got this mean scowl on his face. So he's in a golf cart. It looks like he's just like in the middle of a golf round, which I'm sure he would. Took a selfie. He's like scowling. And then on the right, there's a little bit of copy. I swear, 3 sentences of copy, and then a button to sign up.
Yeah. And what it's taught me is that, I have been studying persuasive copy, and I've always thought persuasive copy was like slick copy. And it turns out that persuasive copy isn't slick copy. Persuasive copy basically presents a problem, and then your product is the solution to it. And that's it, right? Like, you can say things really nicely. You can make them sound really like you're a wordsmith, and a lot of copywriters do. But for the most part, the reason my ad is working, Kevin, is because I'm basically telling people, number one, I struggled. Like, I'm taking this prestigious test that everybody wants to pass, that 80% of the people that don't pass it, I was under a lot of pressure. They can relate to that, right? With golf, like, oh man, like I'm practicing every day. It's not working. And then I said, look, I figured something out. Like, now and really who I'm talking to are like busy dads, busy moms, golfers who just don't have time, like, to play golf every day. Right? Those are the guys I'm talking to. And then at the end, I'm like, look, I got this thing that's going to help you. Why don't you join?
Yeah. I mean, meanwhile, just so you know, we don't have a product yet. We don't have a course to sell. We don't have any content to sell to people, and we talk about the irresistible offer a lot, and we talk about it's not price. And in this situation, it's obviously not price because we don't have anything to sell yet. It's the fact that you're saying I can get better at golf and practice less. That is like a concept that you'd have to be stupid not to sign up for that.
Yeah, and Kevin, it's proving to be that way because I just sent out an email yesterday, right? When I sent, or 2 days ago. At the time, I only had 86 people on the mailing list. Now it's up over 200. Like, it's going crazy now. But at the time, it was like 86 people, right? And I sent out an email. And then at the end, it said, I'm going to be launching a course where I'm going to teach my formula. I'm only going to be opening it up to a small group of people. So if you're interested, click here and sign up for the waiting list.
Yeah, and within those last two sentences, there was like 2 misspellings and typos. And
yeah.
And then you click through, because I did this the other day because I'm on the email list, obviously. I click through, and again, it's a landing page with just
a form
on it.
The form doesn't even say anything else. I actually, at the bottom of the email, I said, if you'd like to get on the waiting list for a course that I haven't named yet, click here. And I mean, 86 people were on the list. I have 9 people who signed up.
And just think about that. Like, think about if you could say, how many people do you have on the list? Like 200 now, you said?
Now it's like, close to 2.
Think about how powerful that is to have 200 people.
200 golfers.
200 golfers that, that have the interest that you need. Because when you're on Facebook, you're throwing shit out there. You obviously can do interest, but you're in front of a ton of people. You can speak directly to 200 people that are interested in what you're going to sell.
Yeah, and you speak directly to them. It's more of a one-on-one type thing rather than being in this ocean of shit. And so I guess the moral of all this is a couple things. Number one, if you position your product properly and it's actually something that really solves a problem, you don't have to get so complicated. You can be very, very simplistic in everything that you do. It's when you have a shit product that nobody really wants, that you're trying to force down their throat, that you feel like it has to be complicated, right?
Right.
This is really, really simple and it's effective. The other thing is, and the bigger point, even though, keeping it simple is really, really important. The other point I want to make, or the bigger point that I want to make, is the strategy, right? Plucking people out of their news feeds and now changing them over to being on your email list, where every time I send an email, it goes right to their cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. You're out of the clutter, just like we started the conversation with.
You're out of the clutter.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of you, if you're selling in a very busy or competitive niche, it's really easy to get discouraged. It's really easy to want to give up. But at the end of the day, it could be that you just got to change sort of your tactic.
Yeah. Figure out a way to gather the people who would be interested in your product, your service, your digital product, and get them over to your email list so you can speak to them directly. It's like taking a million people and taking, a big chunk of them and putting them into a room where you can stand up on a stage and talk to them.
Yeah,
obviously, when it comes to them taking their money out and actually buying something, it's a different story. But you've gotten that audience and you've built it so you can speak to them directly.
Yeah, and we're even doing this with the journal, Kevin. I mean, as we've always wanted to become rich on the front end of Facebook. And you realize the more money you spend, the more you scale on Facebook, the lower that return is. It just is. I mean, there's no way to keep that when you're spending a little bit of money, there's no way to keep that return gap the same as you're spending more money. So this is a really good way to, now the other side of it is you have to make sure you can afford doing it. The truth is that we probably would have waited to have a product before we ran ads if we didn't have a little bit of money to spend, but we have a little bit of money to spend. So a couple $100 here or there is not that crucial at this point. But in the past, we probably would have waited until we had the product, or at least we would have started the product as quickly as possible.
But it's like building that audience, so you'll have it there, and when it's ready, when they're ready to sell it, they'll be there.
The other thing is, Kevin, that I'm learning how to write emails, and the other side of it is like I'm looking at it as an investment. It's like it's a learning, and it's a way to keep me sending these emails, is that I'm getting these people on. So it's a couple things.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is like when you get them over in this manner, when you get them signed up to your newsletter, don't then go and just throw a product at them and expect them to buy. Send them some more value, send them some more stories about what you're doing, get them to, make these small commitments to you, like we're doing. Like we're getting them on the email list. Jason's getting them on the email list. He's writing them. He's seeing them open the emails. He's seeing really good open rates. Then he sent it. This is his second or third email. He put on the bottom, here's this little wait list. They click through. There was another thing you said to me the other day is, I don't know where you learned it or something, is that like you have to train your list to click. Yeah. Something like that in the email. So even putting links to other things.
Yeah. Ben Settle talks about that. Yep.
It also makes them feel comfortable with, because, you're inundated with these emails. Who knows what these links are going to take you to? You get them to click and feel comfortable with clicking in your emails,
Yeah. And one thing on that, which is interesting, is Ben Settle, who is a copywriter. He said, get them used to clicking. He's like, I don't care where you send them, get them clicking. And what was interesting is that he said, never use anchor text. So if let's say your product is a golf ball, he says, never select the word golf ball and link to a page. He says, people are not sure what they're clicking on. He says, put the link there. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting, Kevin, is that I sent out an email. The first one I sent out had a link to an Amazon affiliate product with an anchor text. No one clicked on it.
Yeah. That's so interesting too, because you feel like that is just because when you put in a whole web address into an email, you think that it's going to look like shit. No one's going to click on it because it's just like this little bit of, it almost looks like code to some people.
Right. But they know where they're going when they're clicking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you see anchor text, it could be a spam. It could be spam. It could be anything.
Yeah.
It's true because nobody clicked on it. And then I sent this other thing to sign up and I used the full link. And
it also could be just like an underlined blue word in your text. Like maybe people don't know that you can click on words like that, like the anchor text words or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting. That's always been interesting to me. And I've always fought that, that because I always put buttons. I like to put buttons and you're like, just put the link in. And I always fight it. And then I started doing both, adding buttons and a link.
Because you just can't.
I just can't.
You can't. You're just a control freak. I mean, it's just what it comes down to. I mean, you bitch about me all the time. It's like, oh, I'm doing all our client work. I'm like, because you don't let me do anything. So I just stop fighting you. You tell me to do something.
Never say
you're so
that.
full of shit. You tell me to do it. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I just checked what you did. And I think maybe we should change this. Well, if you're going to check it, if you're going to do it, just do it.
I never said anything like, oh, I'm doing all the client work. Never said that to you directly. I'm just very passive aggressive about it. That's all.
All right, guys. So keep it simple. Remove yourself from the noise, the clutter. You'll get much better results that way. I mean, it's just another way of saying grow your email list, grow your back end. That's really what it is. But at the end of the day, the stuff works. And, I think a lot of people give up when things don't work the first time. You got to try a lot of different things. I mean, we have a journal, we have a digital magazine that we sell on the front end and we sell on the back end. We have clients who we do a lot of selling on the front end and, and then we grow their email list and send them on the back end. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do things. You can't be stuck doing the same thing. For me, I had to figure out a way because golf is like my thing. I had to figure out a way to get away from the noise. And that's what I did.
Yeah, in order to do all this email capture stuff and email communication, you need a tool like Klaviyo.
Klaviyo, you have to. I mean, and they're the best. I love like going in there and looking at all the stats. It's really easy.
Yeah, so much data.
So much data, right? Yeah, and they are, and especially for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Kev. I mean, we have emails set up in there going out for 2 weeks in a row.
Oh yeah, and they're all going to be scheduled out soon. Coming this Friday, actually. We have a lot to do in there, so it's gonna be great. So
Klaviyo.com/uncensored.
Yeah, that's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored. You can sign up for a free account over there, and then you got to check out Jason's Facebook course.
The truth about Facebook ads. Our clients are asking for it. Our clients who are like, we're doing their ads. Like, hey, can I have the course? Like, hello. Multiple clients have asked for it.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
Check it out. The truth about Facebook ads. ecommerceuncensored.com/truth.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 194. As always, you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.